Okay, who doesn't love the idea of an extra hour of sleep? Well, if you're in that camp, you are in luck because the annual fallback is just around the corner. We're going to cover everything you need to know about the 2025 time change, why we even do this, and the big debate about whether we should finally stop. It really is the best part of daylight saving time ending, right? It's that one glorious morning where time is literally on your side. So let's break down exactly when and how you can claim that extra hour. All right, first things first, let's get into the essentials. These are the practical, need to know details to make sure you're perfectly in sync when the time changes. Okay, here is the magic moment. You're going to want to remember this. On Sunday, November 2nd, at exactly 2 o'clock in the morning, the clock is going to instantly jump back to 1 a.m. Now, it's designed to happen while most of us are fast asleep, so you just wake up to a brand new extra hour. So, what do you actually need to do? Well, your smart devices, your phone, your laptop, probably your watch, they should all update automatically. They've got you covered. But for everything else, like the clock in your car or on the microwave or the oven, you'll want to manually turn those back an hour before you go to bed on Saturday night. So, what does this actually mean for your day? We're basically returning to what's called standard time. And the biggest change you'll notice is you'll get much brighter mornings because the sun will rise an hour earlier. But of course, there's a trade off. It's also going to set an hour earlier, bringing on those darker evenings a lot faster. This whole business of changing our clocks twice a year has a pretty fascinating history. It wasn't always this way, which really makes you wonder, why did we start doing this in the first place? At its core, daylight saving time is a really simple idea. Let's shift an hour of daylight from the morning to the evening. The original thinking was to make the absolute most of the sun's light during the warmer months. The hope was to save energy and give people more time for fun activities after work. Believe it or not, the practice actually got its start as a wartime energy saving effort in Germany back during World War I. The idea kind of spread, and while the US played around with it for a while, it wasn't until 1966 with the Uniform Time Act that it became a standardized national practice. It was really designed to end all the chaos from different towns and cities having their own local times. But here's the thing, even with a national standard, it is not universal. Take Hawaii and most of Arizona, for example. They just decided to opt out completely. And a bunch of US territories also stick to standard time all year round, which just goes to show that it is possible to escape this twice a year ritual. And that right there brings us to the great modern debate. I mean, if some places can just opt out, why can't everyone? There's a huge growing movement to end the clock change for good, and this is where the conversation gets really, really interesting. And public opinion on this? It is surprisingly clear. I mean, look at this. A 2022 poll found that a whopping 80% of Americans are just tired of this system. They want to stop changing the clocks. That is an absolutely overwhelming majority, which of course raises a pretty big question. So, if pretty much everyone agrees we should stop, what's the holdup? What would we replace it with? Well, it turns out this is exactly where that consensus completely falls apart. There are two very, very different paths we could take. The choice really boils down to two futures. On one side, we could adopt permanent standard time. That's what we're falling back to right now. This would give us brighter mornings, and some argue that aligns a lot better with our natural body clocks. But on the other side is permanent daylight saving time. That would mean more light in the evenings all year round, for things like after school sports or shopping or just enjoying the evening. So far, the political momentum has mostly been behind making daylight saving time permanent. There's a bill called the Sunshine Protection Act that actually passed the Senate unanimously back in 2022, but it's been stalled in the House ever since, which just highlights how surprisingly complicated this issue really is. And you can see this political complexity really clearly when you look at some recent statements. For instance, in April of 2025, former President Trump posted on Truth Social supporting permanent daylight saving time, calling it very popular. But then, get this, just a few months before that, in December of 2024, he called for the exact opposite, to get rid of daylight saving time altogether. And this situation perfectly captures the heart of the political deadlock. Even the people who want to stop changing the clocks just can't seem to agree on which permanent solution is the right one. So, where does all of this leave us? Well, for now, we just keep on falling back and sprinting forward. But this debate is far from over, and the arguments for finally picking one permanent time are definitely getting stronger. And look, this isn't just about convenience. More and more research is linking these sudden time shifts, which mess with our internal body clocks, to some pretty serious health issues. We're talking about potential spikes in things like heart attacks and strokes. It forces a really tough conversation about what we value more, the health benefits of brighter mornings or more usable hours of daylight in the evening. So, as you set your clocks back this weekend and get ready to enjoy that extra hour, here's a final thought. If it were totally up to you,
You, what would you choose? Would you go for permanent daylight saving with its later sunsets? Permanent standard time with its earlier sunrises? Or do you think we should just keep things the way they are? It's a question the whole country is still trying to figure out.